Welcome. Today I am joined by Heather Campbell. Heather, thank you so much for being here with me. I know that you're incredibly busy, and I'm really excited to talk to you. For those listeners who are slightly unfamiliar or want to know a little bit more about you, can you share a bit with me about your backstory and how you got started?
Oh my goodness, yes. It's very funny. I was just talking about some of the different things that I've done in life. I've had really fun and funky titles. I've been in charge of Synergy at ESPN. That was actually my title, Synergist. Synergist, not kidding, at a corporate company, the Walt Disney Company. I've been in charge of Alchemy, really in charge of Alchemy. That was my title at another media company. I am the CEO and co-founder of Ready, Set, Recover, which is a support platform that helps people get ready for and recover from surgery in a better way. And I've written a book. And so very often people are like, okay, so who are you? Like, why, how? And the thing that I've come to is I have been consistent throughout. My purpose is to make people feel seen, heard, and celebrated. That is what I am here to do. And all of these jobs have enabled me to welcome, invite, recognize that people have so much more power than we take, than we think. And I have been lucky enough to have jobs and create companies and write a book about how you can and really should. I hate to say the should word, but should do it.
I love that. In our house, we say whole, happy, and heard. So you and I are birds of a feather for sure. For sure. So tell me a bit about the company that you started for patients to go to their surgeries and to recover better. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started it because I needed it. I was having surgery and I started to get nervous, and I like action when I get nervous. And I also believe in programs. I like
Yeah.
using other people's brains. And if there's a structure that we're, if I, right, I'm a potter. I make pottery. In order to learn how to do that, I took a class. So I went to look for a program for you're nervous about surgery, and there was nothing that was helpful. So I decided to create one. I borrowed things from other wellness programs that I had done. I thought what would be specific to this moment. And when I was fully recovered and it had gone fabulous, my surgeon said, I really wish all of my patients could be like you. And I somewhat naively, all the other entrepreneurs out there listening are going to chuckle, thought, oh, okay, I'll just start a company. How hard can that be? Um, and lo and behold, it's hard. It's very, very hard, especially in healthcare. Talk about, choosing an industry that is not fast moving or incredibly welcoming. But it's necessary. In healthcare in general, right now, unfortunately, it's my belief that we have hurt care. We don't have healthcare. We have hurt care. And my company really helps us focus on there's this untapped resource in healthcare, and it's the patient. So how do we actually get the patient to engage? Patients are our users, but our customers are healthcare systems, surgery centers, insurance companies, because what we're doing, when I help create a less stressed, more informed patient, I'm helping the bottom line for all of those other entities.
The patient goes from being just a patient and a
Correct.
passenger to being an actual doer, right? And we all know that that makes you feel better,
Correct.
especially in a time, to your
Correct.
point, of feeling out
Correct.
of control. Anything that you can do is probably making you feel much better. I love your blind
Right.
positivity though. You're like, I'm just going to do it. It's going to be great. How hard could it be?
Yeah, it was yeah, it's very funny. And even though now I know how hard it is, I still think, but this is something that can happen. You know, the The beauty of what I'm doing is there has only been one person I have ever spoken to and told about my platform that has said, "Oh, that's not going to work." One person. And that person has been in healthcare for 40 years. And he said that because he said, "Yeah, sorry, no, what you're doing makes too much sense. Healthcare healthcare does not make sense. What you've created is logical and benefit." Yeah, sorry, that's just it's not going to work because makes too much sense.
So, what would you say is the most surprising insight that you gleaned as you pivoted from that patient to an industry innovator? What do you think was like, if you could think of the number one thing that you were like, wow, this is incredible, what would it be?
The challenge on getting people to do something that they know is right, but they still have to prove to their boss. So here I have this innovation. And again, everyone other than the one guy, this makes sense. This makes sense. Um, Especially in healthcare. Well, and really in anything, in any job, you need your boss to be okay with it. And they need to check a box in order to make that happen. It's incredibly frustrating when everyone knows that this can and should happen, but you are waiting for that box. And in order to get that box checked for us, we're doing pilots. We need data. So what we've seen anecdotally is patients go through our program, they are less stressed. They have fewer complications, shorter hospital stays, fewer readmits, higher health patient satisfaction scores. So all of these things are wonderful things that, again, 100% affect the bottom line for healthcare. But I need data to actually prove the percentages, to prove the numbers in order to get the boss to check that box and to actually do the programs.
Incredible. It's an incredible premise, to be honest. And being around a lot of people who have had surgeries, et cetera, especially I would say I have older parents and they're really nervous. And to be able to give them that resource would be incredible.
Well, and you've just touched on a bunch of things right there with what you've just said. So when I talk and I do presentations, I usually start with how many of you have had surgery or have a loved one who has had, every single hand. There are over 54 million planned elective surgeries in the US every year. And that number is only growing because, as you said about your parents, the silver tsunami. We are aging tremendously in the United States. So those two things are making this more and more prevalent. 92% of patients are nervous and stressed when they go into surgery. I don't know who the other 8 are. I'd like to meet them. It creates problems. It takes people 40% longer to recover from surgery when they're overly stressed.
This is not it. This is not a hard concept, right? I was thinking when I read all about you and your company, and which I was blown away by, and think it's so smart. But when I have small children, and when one of our children had a very small operation, there were so many things that we did to prepare him for it, right? And he met with a child psychologist, and he had all of these resources, but we're not doing that for adults.
No. And what you just said also is so fascinating because it's another one of my things. I talk about it actually in my book as well. Sleep. Sleep is so important for everyone. When you're a child, most likely, knock on wood, your parents created a bedtime for you. What do before you go to bed? You maybe read a book, you have a routine, right? There's something that you do. Those routines are incredibly helpful. And just as you said, you did a routine for pediatric. There's a little bit more very often. For adults, there's not. I do have to say my child also had to have surgery, and I'm hoping your child was absolutely fine. But in the OR, as they're buzzing around pre-op and, going, at one point, one of the nurses stops and looks at me. Mom, I gotta tell you, you've been amazing. And I said, thank you. And she said, no, like really incredible. And your child too. You guys have been amazing. And my daughter was sitting there doing breath work as the IV is going in. And right. And I say, well, I have a company that helps people get ready for and recover
Yeah.
from surgery. And you could see the weight
Yeah.
that was lifted off of her shoulders,
Sure.
and everyone else is in the room.
Sure.
It's important.
Well, they know that they're walking into something with a patient that's prepared. So be it physically, yes, but also mentally.
And there's small nuances to that preparation. Things like most likely if they say your surgery is going to happen at 10, most likely it's not. And it has nothing to do with you. It's not that they're rethinking. It's not because it has nothing to do with you. But when you don't know that that's going to happen, and now they've said it's going to be 2 hours, and you've gotten the person who's going to be coming to pick you up, and what's going to happen, and what's going to happen, and what's going to happen, and now you're ramping, 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 ramping. None of that cortisol is good for you in that moment.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about rituals, right? So the ritual for a child to go to sleep. And I mean, I employ rituals myself. So when I was reading all about you and I started reading about 4 I'm thankful for, which I have a gratitude journal. So when I read it and there was a name for it, I was so excited. I was also really excited to hear you say that you do it 85% of the time, which I thought was disarming and really honest. Tell us a little bit about for I'm thankful for. What is it?
Sure. So similar to you, I chose nighttime because when you're creating a habit, which is what this is, you want to stack the habit on top of something that you know you're going to do. That then creates an easier ritual. So I go to bed every night. I do that. Thank goodness, knock on wood. I get to go to sleep every night. I'm very lucky. So I have my gratitude journal right next to me. And my goal is I'm thankful for, to write down simple, so I get in. And again, back to that bedtime ritual, I'm tucking myself in, and I'm tucking myself in with good thoughts. What are 4 things? And those 4 things don't have to be big. That's, I think, one of the other things, again, where Ready, Set, Recover and my book, Good is Amazing, really well overlap. It's not, I won the lottery. It's not, I'm grateful that I solved the Middle East peace crisis. Like it's things like I had a nice time with my kid today when we took a walk. Sometimes, very often, one of the things is I'm going to sleep. But even just seeing that again puts me in the place to put my head on the pillow and take that deep breath and yeah, I'm good.
You see all of these memes and things all over about people lay their head down and then they start thinking about like something horrible that they said when they were in 7th grade or something like that. That's just an example. And then when I broach the topic of a gratitude journal, people are like, you have all these practices. People are blown away by the fact that you would sit down and do this. And I think, and I think that you think, how is it any different than sitting down and spiraling and thinking about all of these horrible thoughts? All we've done is we've decided to shift the mindset and say, I'm going to only like good vibes only for my bedtime.
Right. Well, and it's interesting. Again, back to the admitting. Am I successful all the time? No. Do I spiral sometimes? Yes. But I'm trying, again, back to what we do with our children. I'm trying to set myself up to succeed. Like I know that if I scroll through even the best of newspapers before bed, like not going to put me into the right mindset to go to sleep. Start thinking about my to-do list, even not going to put me in the right mindset to go to sleep. I read a book and a book that's not going to set me down the wrong path. I now have an email relationship with Jodi. Do you know Jodi Picoult?
Yes. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite authors ever. I'm so jealous.
I went to the library one day. I didn't have my glasses, so I couldn't actually read, but I grabbed a book because of its thickness and it was pretty. I knew nothing about this book or the author. So I go and it's my bedtime book. So similar to a kid. Again, I read a couple of chapters before I go to bed to get me. So I start to read, and this was about race relations. And for those of you who don't know Jodi Picoult already, she's amazing. And she writes from many different points of view. So the book has, all of the, and so I'm starting to read and I'm thinking, well, this is not bedtime positive at all. I can't stop reading. And so later on, we started emailing, and I told her the story about the fact that, her books are amazing. They're not bedtime
They're
positive.
not. They are not. When you went down that road, I was like, this is
Right.
the bedtime book? So to someone who says, my life, my job, everything is filled with so much pressure and I just can't, if I get in my bed, there's no way that I could do this. I can't do this. How would you tell them, or what are the steps that you would tell them to take to build a habit that sticks when it's, I mean, starting from zero, right?
Number one, I would say it's hard. Like there's not a secret sauce out there. It's, oh, have you not been jumping on your left foot 4 times and then spinning around twice and then going like there's not an easy simple. And so career day, do this, do this, do this, work hard, do this. I get up. First of all, my kids have asked me not to embarrass them. Of course, I'm going to embarrass them. So I get up and I talk about, here are all the jobs I've quit and why. Not work hard and you can get this kind of job and make this kind of money. Here are the jobs I quit. You need to know that you get to quit.
Yeah.
If it is harming you, you get to quit. You get to make a different decision. Now, I also talked about, as an adult, again, you do need to have your foundational needs covered. So you need roof over your head, food in your belly, insurance, and a little bit more financially. That is what you need. You get to decide as an adult what kind of roof is over your head. Do you need to come up with a multi-million dollar, down payment? Are you doing something that makes it easier for you? And you need to be careful on when you make them. I also write a story in the book about my then boyfriend, now husband. When we were first together, we were both temping, and then we got the job from the temp job, and we're living in, San Francisco. And he comes home one day and he says, they offered me a promotion. And I say, congratulations, that's so wonderful. And he said, so I quit.
Okay. Not where I thought you were going, but all
Not
right.
at all.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, did they offer you a raise too? He said, they did. They did. And I'm like, well,
Okay.
those jerks. And I said, I'm so sorry. Help me understand.
Sure.
Isn't this the goal? And he said, no, I don't want to work there. And if I take this promotion, we're going to go and I take the more money. We're going to go get that apartment that's a little bit bigger and a little more expensive that we just looked at to play and see because we were bored the other day. And then I'm going to have to stay. And then in 6 years, they give me a sabbatical for 6 months. And so I'm going to want to stay for that because that's free money. And then I don't want to be there.
That's a really incredible premise because I would say I don't think that there are a lot of people who look at the conventional ideas of success and say, okay, so I have XYZ, but I'm really unhappy and this isn't working for me. We just go, 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 go. So to be able to look into the future and say, this is going to trap me here and it's going to achieve some of the things that I want. But at the end of the day, it's not what I want at all. So I'm going to stop that cycle right now is incredible, especially at what sounds like kind of the beginning of a career in a younger age.
Yes. Yes. It was again, a beautiful moment. And I have used that as a benchmark of, does this, again, every once in a while, you got to do some stuff. You got to, you take one for the team. But that shouldn't be your life. I remember being at ESPN and my boss was leaving. And of course, when your boss leaves, you are supposed to go for your boss's job. I didn't want that job. So I actually went to the vice president for the company. So I went to the president of ESPN's second person and said, I want to tell you I'm not going for that job. And I want to tell you why. I don't actually want that job. That job has this, 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 and this. I like what I'm doing. I'm not done. I'm not phoning it in. I want more money in case I know that part too. I want all of that. I just don't want that job. And I don't want you to read into my not going for it and think like, oh, she's phoning it in. She's done. She's not aggressive.
Yeah.
No, I'm in. I love what I'm doing. Just don't want that.
Sure. So I love that you've put power behind giving someone the opportunity to say what exactly they want. My mom used to say when I was really young, ask for your order. Ask for your order. And all that meant was, what are you trying to say? What do you want right now? So if I was like, I just don't want this, I don't want this. Well, what do you want? And forced me to say what I wanted over and over and over until now, as a fully formed, functioning adult and woman out there in the world, I say what I want. And it's oftentimes people are really surprised, right? Like it's a very strong thing to do, but how else can you achieve what you want or live a life that you love, that you're happy with, if you're not asking for what you want or saying what you don't want?
So what you're talking about also falls in line with another concept that's in the book about the universe. Because very often people, when I talk this way, people are like, oh, the universe, you asked the universe for this. And I can be a little woo woo. So like they think they're talking to the right person, the universe provided. And I say respectfully, I would spell it Y-O universe. It's
Love
you.
that. Oh, I just got the chills, Heather. I love
It's
that.
it's you, and it's exactly what your mom said. It's asking for your order. So when I tell people, for example, Adam Grant, another amazing New York Times bestseller, youngest Wharton, yeah, Adam Grant. Um, I follow his work. I think he's amazing. I tell people about Adam Grant. I share his posts. Couple years ago, someone emailed me, Heather, oh, Adam Grant is speaking at this conference in New York. Are you going to be around? Would you want to go? I said I would. I could get in for free. And so I was telling the story, and someone said, oh, that's just, the universe listening. I'm like, no, it's me talking a lot. I tell people, Adam Grant, he's amazing. Adam Grant, I follow. And then someone's like, oh, Heather Campbell loves Adam Grant. I should tell her that he's going to be at this thing. So I sign up. So I go. That is things coming together, but it's coming together because I asked for my order.
You asked for your order and you took action there, which is so cool.
At Harry and David, we work with our hands as well as our hearts, so you can enjoy sharing it as much as we enjoy making it. And that's what life's really all about, sharing with those we're closest to, no matter how far we are apart. Harry and David, share more.
Let's talk a little bit about healthy habits. I'm obsessed. I really love, since we've gone through all of this, I really love your ritualisticness. I love that you were talking about how we speak to people. I want to know what you do kind of every day to live this life and to support this. Your Healthy Habits platform, it tracks sleep, it's mindfulness, it's nutrition. So it's all of the things outside of if you're having surgery. This is an everyday moment, right?
So Ready, Set, Recover, Ready, Set, Recover is focused on inviting people in during this time of urgency and fear surgery. So during that time, you come in, we're giving you this platform. And then on top of that, we're adding healthy habits, things that you can do every day. When you're done with the program, if you want to continue with healthy habits, you absolutely can. Again, like you're saying, the way you set yourself up really changes everything. So you asked about my day. To many people, my day is going to sound a little intense, but it's what works for me. So I usually get up early. Like I slept in today till 6:35. It's the way my body works. So I get up early. I get up usually at 5:30. I start by scraping my tongue, which is just a practice, a good, healthy mouth practice. Scrape my tongue. Then I have some hot water with lemon. And that really gets my digestive system starting to go, being like, oh, we're up, like a little bit of an energy boost there. Then, depending on what's going on with my body, I might do some movement. I might do some PT. I've had a hand thing going on. I might do some stretching there. Just move for a little bit, and then I sit down and I meditate. I try to meditate every morning. If I don't, it's funny in talking about meditation. I've had some amazing meditation experiences. I have, again, if you're just listening and not watching, there is a calligraphy over my shoulder. That's a calligraphy that was done by Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Buddhist monk, absolutely amazing. Many people consider him to be the father of mindfulness. I've gotten to meditate at St. John's Cathedral with Thich Nhat Hanh. I've gotten to meditate with Deepak Chopra. I've gotten to meditate with Sharon Salzberg. I have gone on amazing, beautiful meditation retreats. I've read the data on meditation. I believe it. There is science behind it. None of that stuff matters if I don't meditate. I have to meditate. It's not like, well, 20 years ago, I had this incredible experience, and so now I'm good. Nope. Got to do it every day.
I know that everyone's going to ask, how long? How long is your meditation practice daily? And I'm sure it varies depending on what's going on. But what is the shortest amount of time you might meditate to the longest amount of time you might meditate per day?
So because the question is asked because I'm trying to do this standpoint, take a breath. If you can take one breath, if that's what you can do today, one breath in, one breath out. If that's all you got today, do that. Awesome. Celebrate it because you did that. I have done a bunch of different studies. I've done mindful MBSR. I've done lots of different things. I like my TM practice, my transcendental. I try to do, if I was going to have a goal, my goal is to do 20 minutes with my mantra, 3 minutes of just sitting. It's not that often. I often, and again, in TM, you're again, supposed to. The goal is to do it twice a day. I rarely get twice a day. Once my day gets going, I'm usually going. So that's part of the reason why I also do it in the morning when I wake up before I've got the peripheral vision going, where I'm trying to be supportive, helpful, active, all of the stuff with and for everyone else. So I do that. Then I usually try to have, although I didn't do it today and I was really hungry, I have my Compost smoothie.
Okay. What's in that?
Whatever
is around.
Whatever needs. So it's usually a base of spinach, a protein powder, some fruit. Like if the bananas are about to go bad, it's a banana smoothie. If the kids had strawberries and I cut the tops off, it's tops of strawberries, cucumbers, whatever's in there. But and then water, maybe some almond milk. Maybe if I'm really feeling fancy, it's some yogurt. Really being decadent.
That's when you're really treating yourself. Yogurt in your smoothie.
Yeah. And if I'm going nuts, it's the vanilla yogurt.
I say, if I'm going crazy, it's the skier yogurt. Like that's me really living my best life. Incredible that you're out there just empowering people to be exactly who they are and act accordingly, right? And what resonated with me from that story, was a multitude of things, but the story that you told at the beginning of this interview about your husband saying, this doesn't work for me, you just told me a very much parallel story about yourself. So that's the environment that you're living in every day, which is really cool. So fun. So you got to ideate on things that you really loved and you were really interested in. It wasn't that you didn't want a big, huge job at a big corporation or at the best consulting group that there is. It was that you wanted to do something that really made you tick and was interesting to you every day. If you have to spend that much time working in your life, let's have it be things that are interesting to us. So tell us about Good is Amazing.
Yes. So again, it took a long, it was in my head. It is one where I will say I felt both an opportunity and a responsibility. It did come to a point of when so many people would say, oh my God, we are, I'm not going to say we're at a unique time. All of history with humans have had a lot of stuff going on throughout history. Life is hard right now for a lot of people. And so to give this opportunity to take that breath, and again, literally, I don't mean it figuratively. I mean, literally take a breath, and to look at your story from your perspective. What do you want? The book starts off with the story of my mother. I'm in college. My mom calls me. My mom's an awesome, amazing person. Calls me and asks me to be president of the United States. Yeah. Can I promise, please, to be president of the United States? And my mom's not a helicopter parent. Like, not something horrible had happened in the world. And she thought I could fix it and be a part of fixing it. And so my mom is having this huge crisis moment. And I then have this existential moment of, no, I'm pretty sure not, for many, 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 many reasons. But it gets me going down this path of, what do I want? Like, if I don't want to do that, if I'm going to say no to my mom who's sobbing on the phone, what am I saying yes to? And I really got to happy, healthy. And I really got to, what does that mean? It means good. It means I can change the world by being a part of my younger cousin's life. For them to know that I'm part of their foundation, for me to help them see themselves, that changes the world. I can change the world by doing great things and creating a company that helps people. That changes the world. I can do great things and change the world just by going to bed at night and being grateful. All of these things create a foundation of good. And again, it's amazing. So I originally had been playing with good, period, enough, period. And I was afraid people would miss the period, because it's not that you're settling. I'm not suggesting anyone settle. Don't settle. Don't settle. Be greedy. Be demanding for good. Want it. Desire it. Find it. But recognize, again, when I think about, in the book, one of the things similar on play of For I'm Thankful, I talk about 3 things that make you happy. Can you name 3 things, easy things, and do you do them? So it's not going to Paris on vacation. That's great too. Like, that's awesome. Save for it, do it. But on a regular basis, do you know small, simple things that actually make you smile and give you joy, and do you do them? Absolutely. So one of my things is, I love flowers. I love cut flowers. I especially love Trader Joe's daffodils. They they're sunshine. They are literal sunshine, and they're $1.79 for 10 stems. It is almost like they are paying you to take them. So I found them years ago. I bought 3. I bought 5. I have been known to buy 30 on the days that I really needed some sunshine. But then what Okay, but this is what really makes me happy. So number 1, I see them. That makes me happy. I buy them. That makes me happy. Especially when you buy 30, even if you buy 1, this can happen, but definitely if you buy 30, the person checking you out says, wow, these are gorgeous. And then I get to say, one of them's for you. And then they say, no, 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 I wasn't trying to. I'm like, I know, that's what makes it even better. One of these are for you. It's like, if you have to ring it up separately so that you've got the receipt and show that it's paid, whatever you need to do. But yeah, one of them's for you. That makes their day. And then I go around giving these flowers to people. I give them to the teachers, not because it's Teacher Appreciation Day, but because it's Tuesday. I give them to complete strangers. Holding them, even if I don't give them to someone, if I walk down the street holding them, people smile at me. They see the flowers, they look at me, they smile. That again, dopamine coursing through my body. I smile at them, dopamine coursing through their body. It's just these changing the world with a daffodil, literally. So those are the things that I do. I am conscious about them. And again, do I do it all the time? No, I don't. Um, but it also makes me excited even thinking about it. I no longer live near a Trader Joe's, and I happened to be going into New York City during the time of daffodil season. And I called Trader Joe's and I said, "Hi, this is Heather. I'm driving. I'm 3 hours away. Just checking. Did you get daffodils in today?" And they said, "Oh, no, sorry, I don't see any." I'm like, "Right. Can you go to the back and just check? Because sometimes they're still in a box this early." And they go and they're like, "Sorry, no, we don't. They didn't get on the truck. I checked." And I said, "Okay, can you transfer me to the Chelsea store?" And they said, "We can't transfer." I'm like, "Okay, thanks. Bye-bye." Hang up. Sorry, call Chelsea's Trader Joe's. "Hi, Trader Joe's. Hi, this is Heather. I'm driving 3 hours in. And I just want to check to make sure you have the daffodils, the cut stems, not the plants, the cut stems." They say, "Oh, I don't see them." I'm like, sure. "Can you go into the back? They're probably still in a box because it's early." "Sure, just a second." Comes back. "Actually, we did have them in back." I said, "Great. How many do you have?" And they said, "I have 16. I said, "Great. I'll take 8, please, if you could hold them, because they're going to be gone by the time. And she said, "When will you get here?" I said, 3 hours. I'm driving in." She's like, "Excuse me?" I'm like, "I'm driving in. You're not the only reason I'm driving in. I do have other things." Um, and I show up and they've got the daffodils in a bag written with my name. And I get to give one to the cashier. And I get to call the manager and tell the manager how amazing their people are, that this is what happened. This is how kind you were. I needed it. That whole thing sets me up for, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks of positivity, because all of that fun stuff happens. It is. And again, I've paid attention to things that feed me. I'm not suggesting that everyone, although I am going to suggest during March and April, go to Trader Joe's and get the daffodils. It's amazing.
So when is the book out? I want the book.
Book is out. The book is out. It is available online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. If you want to learn more about it, learn more about me, you can go to heatheracampbell.com. That's my website.
Enjoyed this so immensely. I feel the positivity from the conversation, so much so. Seriously, this has been wonderful. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Thank you for spreading your positivity. Thank you for creating a platform that is one of support for anyone out there who is going into the scary situation that is surgery and medicine, and for, the continuation of the health app. You are just a bright light.
I really appreciate it. I love what you guys are doing, and I appreciate you're giving me the opportunity to talk about it. I think I'm happy to be in your family. I kind of feel like I'm part of the family, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate that. I really do.